All right, we're looking at steveinator versus Python. And we'll just be going over how things are. I guess one small thing is you probably want to do a with 2 spaces on the top and 2 spaces on the bottom, because let's say later on, if they do go for something like dragons, you want to have your ballista be able to go back and forth from your main and your natural. So if you are going to go for the house on the high ground here, you want to probably put it like right here, where it's two from the top, 2 from the bottom as well, so that you can have 2x2 units go in and out of your main base. So yeah, small thing. We have, looks like steveinator going for a castle first. Castle first 2 done. Cool. We are doing a little bit of scouting. So this right now, our raider being inactive is actually pretty huge. Every single second does count when we're doing this build. I guess the idea was, hey, if this is against a Rax player, we'll do the B-Sherm thing, where we hide a raider and then try to get a 2v1. But in this particular case, it's not going to work out. So I don't mind going for it, especially because I do think steveinator is more likely to go for Rax here. But it's just something to be aware of. Probably it's going to be that in this particular game, it's not going to work out as well as you would have liked. So we're going to have a lot of less opportunity and time to do damage here. So we don't want to. So right here, we walked into the mineral line. We got surrounded a little bit, so that's just something we do need to be careful of. We don't want to be in a place where we do get surrounded and have to use our flash, or even worse, take some damage as well as have to use our flash. Or even worse than that, get surrounded, don't pay attention, and lose the raider. So basically, your goal with the raiders here in this particular matchup, when you're going against Castle First 2 Dan, is you want to be as annoying as possible. You want to get as much damage as possible, but the caveat is you don't want to take extra damage on your raiders. You don't want to take as so like worker kills are great, wolf kills are great, but the number one thing is you don't lose the raiders. If you lose the raiders, your opponent is going to be able to take a third base as quickly as they would like. Right, and the other thing is that they are able to get map control. So it's good if you deal some damage. It's good if you do get some kills. But the goal is just to be annoying, do a little bit of pressure, but don't take extra damage. Nice. That's more or less exactly what you want to be doing. You do not need to keep this at the back here. You can, so because you have a flash, meaning you have a get out of jail free card, you do not need to have this raider all the way at the back. Maybe you want to keep it slightly behind your other raider so that this one takes a bit more damage than the other. But you're losing out on a ton of DPS here by not having this raider be in the fight. If this was at like red health, let's say around like 20, 25, 30 health, then sure, that makes sense. And let's say you're at like 50 health and you don't have a flash, I'm okay with this. But the fact that you do have a flash, you do have a sizable chunk of change in the HP bank. I would much rather have this in the front, continuing to do damage. And you did go for an archer behind this. So just 2 raiders into archer means you're going to have less pressure than if you would be continuing to make raiders. So that does mean it's more risky to go for a quick third base. So yeah, a quick third base is a lot easier to take if you do go for continual raider production. If you're only going to go for 2 in this case, it's still possible. It's just a little bit more difficult. So that's something to be aware of. And yeah, so even when we're running away, we want to be attacking once and then running away, attacking once and then running away, preferably when all these wolves are in a line like this. So if, let's say you A move right now, you will get like about 50. I was about to say 51, but it's actually 48 now. You would get 48 damage while you only take 10 damage. And then you continue to run away, that sort of thing. So right now we're missing out on DPS. So raiders, they want to fight the wolves, but they only want to fight in the sense that you attack once, they attack once, and then you disengage for that short amount of time. And then as soon as the attack cooldown is done, which I believe is once every 0.1 second. That is not correct. We need to fix that. Oh, shoot. That's really okay. I'll have to look into that. But it's approximately once every. I don't do it by seconds. I just like against wolves, you would attack here. You'd move back to about here-ish, and that's when you can attack again. See, yeah, and here flash. That flash was not necessary at all. There was no need to flash there. That is a wasted flash. We didn't even attack before flashing. That was not a great flash. We're losing mana. We didn't even get the hit on. So generally, you only want to flash if you're getting surrounded. Otherwise, you do not want to flash with raiders versus wolves. So now we're being pushed back. We want to double up. That's good. You want to go for a double hit here. So if we attack with both while these wolves are chasing in a line, we get essentially 100 damage. Well, it would be 96 damage to 10 damage, which is absolutely huge. So I liked what you were doing where you had the two raiders side by side, and then if you just attack move once, get the 2 shots off, and then continue to move back, you will be getting a lot more value in that particular when you do it that particular way. But yeah, we're getting pushed back because we are not using our raiders correctly, and that does mean that steveinator has the opportunity to go for a quick third base. I would probably assume after these 2 wolves, he's going to go for a quick third base. Yeah, so in this, we would have to just go back to our main base and try to defend. Even pull the workers here. Getting these archers surrounded is definitely huge here. I don't think you're going to lose, maybe you'll lose one of them, but this is something that you definitely shouldn't have done, I think. I feel like with these archers, it's very risky to move them out on the map. I would probably just keep them at home pretty much the entire time. It's just not worth the risk of them getting surrounded here. And then maybe if we had decided to move back this way instead of attacking a little bit with these archers, I feel like we might have been able to save it with the workers here. We are going to pull the workers, and steveinator is going to run away. So it ends up working out pretty well, which is very nice. But yeah, we've lost all map control, which means steveinator is going to be able to take a quick third base. Instead, he's actually going to go for another house and continual wolf production. These are, once again, 2 flashes that are unnecessary, and it's a waste of mana right now. They were not in any danger at the moment. If the wolves were coming in and trying to surround them, sure, that's fine. You can just flash them away. But right now, they weren't actually doing anything. They were just running away, and those are some wasted flashes. You need to be very conservative with your flashes, I feel like, unless you're doing some sort of cheese or something like that. So not ideal. We're also going to be pinned in on 2 bases, unable to take a third. And so once I feel like once you have this sort of pressure in front of your base, you need to make a decision. You need to say, can I actually withstand this and take a third base? If that's the case, go for it. Absolutely, that's great. I think judging from the start, we probably can't do that, and that's totally fine. If that is the case, we need to immediately start transitioning into maybe a second Rax or whatever we want to do, right? If the longer we're waiting and saying, hey, maybe I can try to take a third base, that's just a lot of gold that's sitting in our bank without actually doing anything. So I feel like once you were starting to get pushed back, right? Like as soon as you were judging, hey, I'm feeling like my raiders are getting pushed back, and you're starting to move them back. That's when you decide, I don't think I can take a third base. I probably want to throw down some other building in my main, in my natural, just so that I can actually spend this money. Also, we're getting supply blocked, but that's okay. It happens. So yeah, it looks like we're taking it down right now, but I do think that we could have gotten this maybe 30 seconds faster. And that it wouldn't have been like a huge strain in our economy either, I feel like. steveinator is still content on sitting on 2 bases, going for a snake charmer as well. Here's a bit of an attack. Ooh, we had those surrounds, but we also let them go. We had another surround, and we also let it go. Being a little bit generous with our free hugs, and then just leaving. steveinator throwing down a 3rd wolves then. I guess he's a little bit scared of what's gonna happen, what's to come, because he doesn't see a third base. I don't know if he actually checked it though. He didn't check it, so I'm a little bit surprised at that. I like that. I like your army positioning here, by the way, as well. I do think that it's a great position for your army. You're not going to get surrounded, which is very nice. And then I also like the fact that you went for a bird because you were feeling pinned into your own base. Ideally, you do still have these raiders alive. You can potentially come here and flash over. You could potentially go sneak out this way, flash over, maybe not even need it, and you just go around. You probably didn't need to build the bird, but if you feel like you can't get across the map with the raiders, I think that's totally fine. So in general, I probably would have said, no, this bird is a little bit unnecessary. You can probably get the scouting done with the raiders, but it's okay. I don't mind getting the bird here, especially because Beast doesn't really have a lot of anti-air in the early stages of the game. We have steveinator going for a third base. I do think this could have been taken a lot earlier, but, that's fine. And once again, we're being pinned into our own base. So generally what you want for your army is that these raiders are probably want to be the ones at the front line because they are the ones that are able to regenerate health. Whereas your main Rex army not able to do so unless you get priests. But yeah, that's totally fine. Okay, looks like we are also going to go for a bit of a mage push. 2-base mage all in. I don't mind that at all. That's a little bit sloppy. Gonna maybe lose a archer. Not quite. That's not bad. And we also target down that wolf, which is very nice. I do like that. I also like that this bird is coming in and scouting. Did it see the third base first? No, not quite. So I would have preferred to see this bird actually check the third base first, just to see what the timing is of that. But it's a small thing. I think you're gonna know either way with this bird coming in now. But yeah, we do see 5 dens. We do see a third base on the way, and we're feeling pretty pinned into our own base. So this is not, I guess, the greatest start ever. We're also going to be a supply block for a little bit as well. That's a pretty good surround out of our opponents. steveinator here. I do like that you're targeting down these wolves. I think that's excellent. These raiders are finally going to come in. The double flash is definitely risky because if once you have no flashes available, they can get surrounded and taken down. So I like that first flash getting in and trying to snipe those snakes, but then the second flash was a little bit risky. In this case, it's going to work out, but it definitely was a little bit risky. Good target fire at the end there, targeting down that weakened wolf. And now that we've got map control a little bit, now that we're starting to push out of our base, now we have a decision. With the information we have, we see that there's 5 dens, which is a significant number. It's pretty serious. We also see that he has a third base. So the question is, do we want to take a third base of our own, or do we just want to put all our eggs into this 2-base all-in mage push kind of basket? So that's a decision you have to make, and I'm curious to see which one you will do. Also probably, yeah, okay, looks like we're going to take a third base. We probably wanted to start this upgrade, but not going to do so right now. Where's the bird? The bird is still flying around, which is great. I love that. I think that's great. And then one other thing is that once you take down this scouting wolf, I think it's a very good idea to, assume that your opponent is going to come in and try to attack and or deny it, which is what I assume steveinator will do. So you do need to get ready for that. And this is a nice little tucked in corner that you can use with your archers so that, yep, excellent. And yeah, we're not in the greatest of positions, but it's not like game over by any means. I love that you have the soldier on this side over here, just so that they can tank a little bit of damage. These raiders looks like they're going to try to go across the map to do a little bit of damage and or scouting. It's a little bit unfortunate losing that worker on the outside, but not a big issue. Cancel on the house. But yeah, good positioning here. We might lose the second worker, but I don't think steveinator is going to want to push in. These 2 raiders haven't been doing too much, I feel like. Not ideal for sure. We have Fireball on the way. We want to be adding some mages, but there is a bird here. I think that is in our vision. Not quite. This is actually an excellent positioning for the bird. But yeah. Once again, our worker might get sniped, but is not going to be done so. That's nice. One of the biggest difficulties in playing versus Beast is the ability for the Beast player to split their army, right? It's hard for us as a Rax player to split our army because we can't actually run away from a fight as easily or at all compared to like a Beast player. So if you are a Beast player, doing this sort of split is actually very nice. You can, target this place, attack on this side, force his army to come that way, and that's when you strike on the other side as well. That sort of thing. But as a Rax player, it's a lot more difficult. Generally, what I would like to do is put my army right in the middle, and then as soon as I see your the Beast player come in, you have to judge: am I able to deal damage? Am I able to take care of this with like a portion of my army? Because generally if someone is like showing up a small portion of their army on one side, that means they're gonna attack on a different side. So like right here, this is a pretty scary like forest, but like we saw a lot more previously, right? So we can kind of reasonably be sure that this is only a part of their army or half of their army, and we want to react accordingly. We don't want to overreact. This is going to be a concept that comes in, I guess, later on as well. But we don't want to be overreacting to defending like a handful of wolves over here. Let's say we take our 4th base, and he's harassing with a handful of wolves. We don't want to send our entire army over here because that opens up the top side at our 3rd base for a counterattack. One other thing is that it's really unfortunate, but we did lose it looks like we are going to lose our mages. They just spawned and then they were surrounded. So definitely just unfortunate here. Not much we could have done. I guess we could have maybe preemptively pulled some of our units over here to defend them, but definitely a little bit unfortunate. Also, I probably would recommend, instead of walling here, probably want to wall at the front, so it's a little bit easier to have just one choke point rather than 2 choke points you have to manage. So like, if you had walled with these houses at the front here, you'd only have 1 choke point where all these wolves could come in and attack. Whereas over here, they can be like, oh, I'm going to go into the main, I'm going to go into your worker line in the natural, so just a small little thing. But yeah, losing these mages is absolutely huge. Only losing 1 though, that's not bad. But yeah, definitely not ideal. Here's that big surround. Might want to even pull workers here. Once you feel like you're about to get surrounded, I think just pulling all the workers to try to hold is very, very underused by some people. Sometimes people pull their workers a little bit too late. They're like, they do the fight and then they're like, oh no, I'm losing the fight, and then they pull the workers. But it's better to preemptively pull the workers when you don't need them, or like preemptively pull them when it looks like you might be heading into a losing fight. In that case, you're a little bit more likely to actually keep most of your units alive, rather than you start the fight, you wait a little bit, oh no, I'm losing the fight now, and then you pull the workers, but you've already lost half your army, that sort of thing. So I would have liked to see a worker pull here, especially, you're going to pull it right now, but if this was maybe like 5 seconds earlier, this fight would have been a lot more better for you. I feel like maybe we would have saved maybe 3 or 4 more archers, maybe even more. Yeah. At the same time, we have steveinator taking a 4th base. This bird has not quite scouted it, which is a little bit unfortunate. And these raiders haven't been doing much pretty much the entire game. So I do think that these raiders, it's pretty hard to get value of them after the initial stages of the game. But you could have easily sent this one over here, while you had your bird coming in and out of the base here. Yeah, we see the fortress. I guess that's why we put down this. I'm not sure if that was exactly how the order of operations went. We also see the double upgrades coming. We have these raiders. Double flash, once again, is not ideal. Once you have no flashes, they're just sitting ducks for the beast army, and they might just get picked off. In this case, they're able to slither away, which is very nice, but definitely not ideal. Once again, these raiders haven't been able to get the value that they wanted here. Do you want to repair that castle? Yes, indeed. Nice fireball opportunity here on all those snipes. That's an excellent fireball. Very, very nice. Another fireball, perhaps? Perhaps? Yeah, but unfortunately we do lose this. So this is a small little detail as well. If you're playing against beasts, some people only wall this top side, right? Because that's protecting your mineral line. But you can also protect your castle as well with the additional buildings, right? So maybe instead of like a house being here, maybe instead of like, this was already built previously, but like this sort of thing, maybe we could have built another house over here to limit the surface area on our castle. It's a small detail, but definitely can help in specific circumstances such as this one. But yeah, so now that our third castle has been taken down, we have a choice to make. Do we try to rebuild our castle, try to catch up, and go for it later, or B, say, hey, you've lost a whole bunch of army attacking this castle, so now it's my turn to actually, with an army advantage, go across the map and hopefully kill you, right? And this probably is our best opportunity of the game at the moment. We know that our opponent is teching up quite a bit. Fortress as well as double upgrades on the way. We did just lose our third base, but he lost a big chunk of his army at the moment. At the same time, if we look at the army count, it's 15, 14. I feel like this is our probably. If it were me here, I'd say, okay, we just have to go across the map and try to win immediately right here, right now. Maybe we do still try to throw down a castle because as our plan B or as our backup plan, but I do think the correct decision here would be to march across the map and hopefully get a win. We'll see if you decide to do that. Doesn't seem like it. I do like that you are, scouting with that bird and seeing what's up. But yeah, this is probably, okay, we're going to go across the map right now. No, not quite. Okay, so turns out no. So in this case, though, we are just gonna be even more behind because we've lost our third base and for a chunk of his army. But he's gonna be able to reproduce that army with his superior economy, as well as get ahead even more so in the upgrades department. While we only have a single upgrade facility, so this is probably. The point in which we kind of lose the game here. Yes, it's been looking pretty bad for the past little while, but I'd say this is probably the biggest mistake here, where we kind of have to gauge where we're at in the game and try to pick the best path to victory, right? So, while it is it is possible that we just wait and play super defensive, play super turtley, and take good, efficient trades, and eventually win in the late game. Probably the best case scenario here is to have just walked across the map and try to do a big all-in push and hopefully win from there. But looks like we're not going to go for that, which is, it's a very difficult thing to judge, especially if you're not quite used to what's going on and how things are going, especially if it's it's not an easy thing to do, judging the game state and basing your actions based upon it, because you're busy doing micro, you're busy doing macro and everything. So I don't blame you for that, but I'm just saying it is definitely not ideal. And that's probably the biggest mistake here, because the longer this game goes on, he's going to get even further ahead with the upgrades. He's going into triple dragons. He's going into more and more dens. He can probably even take a fifth base. There we go. And we're just never going to be able to get to a place where we're not going to have a better chance than we just had right now, is essentially what we're saying. But yeah, we're starting to move. No, okay, maybe not. Steven, you're taking this base in this location is a little bit weird to me. Most people do take it here, but this bird has also been in your base for the entire time, and we've never been able to actually deal with it. Whereas our bird, I think, was taken down by some of the snakes here. Units lost. Yeah, that was taken down eventually. Perhaps this ballista will deal with it. Yep, seems like it. Looks like our raiders will die. Good double flash over here. Able to save it. For now. But yeah. And yeah, it looks like steveinator is even transitioning into mech to really deal with, a big clumped up Raxed army. I do like this though. This I liked what you were doing with the raiders here, just getting a little bit of vision. I'm not sure if your mindset was I want to clear this fourth base or I want to deal with any sort of run bys. I also don't know if this archers is also on purpose to see if there's any sort of run bys, but I do think that's a very nice one. Some people just like to put a house here. I think for me personally, I like to put a house right here so you can see this side, you can see this side, just for any sort of run bys, but. Yeah. Okay, and here's once again that decision that we have to make. We see that army with our archer, and we have to think, okay, how much do I need to send? If I send the entire army, which I think you are going to do, that is going to open up this side for the wolves to come in. So maybe you don't need to send the entire army over. Maybe you only send maybe this much. Actually, that might be a little bit too. Maybe like half the army, about that much. We send that over, whereas the rest we just keep. And it's really difficult. This is something that is. It's kind of like in. I don't know if you know StarCraft 2 that much, but in PvT, in sort of the mid game when you have like a single Colossus, a handful of like gateway units, you're on the defensive against the Terran player who's trying to pull you apart. This is when you have like 3 bases kind of trying to go up to 4, that sort of thing. And you need to split your army very well, or else if you have overcommit on one side, then the other player can attack the other side and take a victory there without engaging onto the side where your army is. So we do need to be careful about our army movement. But yeah, also you have to be careful in the sense that if you do only send a half your army, your opponent could potentially have the full army there and actually just get a better fight on that side while half of your army is not doing anything. So you do have to be very careful. Looks like we're going to try to take this fourth base. A little bit of a free pickoff over here. Very nice. We take those. And I also like the game sense just to move back here instead of chasing. At the same time, looks like we're going to actually try to take this fourth base. Here we go. But we do have triple dragons on the way. I think we only have 1 ballista, yeah, and that's going to be very difficult to hold. Best case scenario, we get some nice slow fields, get a nice ballista shot. Some archers dealing some damage as well. But I also like the way you positioned your army. I do think this is a very nice position because you have to defend everything. But this is also a small little tip. If you are going to go for this fourth base, generally it's a good idea to wall this off entirely. So with the additional buildings, instead of like putting these 3 houses down, maybe you just, castle and then wall, house, and you have less to worry about on this side of the map. Right? So you don't have to really think about run bys as much. Like if you had your house like this, then there's less surface area on this castle also. So yeah, just a little bit of SimCity stuff for sure. And once again, as our main army is being pulled to this base, that does open up an opportunity on this side for steveinator to come in with the other part of his army. Losing these, this would be very not ideal. We double slow field here. That's also a bit of a panicked overreaction, but that's, totally fine. And once again, as he sees this army coming over here, he takes the opportunity to come in and attack your third base. So once again, some very nice army movement out of steveinator here. A little bit of an overcommittal with our army. And we're going to lose that third base once again. Perhaps we'll get a little bit in exchange. Good slow field. Good fireballs. Very nice. And once again, we have that decision. What are we going to do here? He just lost a sizable portion of his army. And it's like, this isn't as good as the last time it happened. Oh, we had a bit of a run by. I didn't even notice that. I think that was like 3 soldiers, actually. And this is our opportunity to go across the map and potentially do some damage. One thing to note is that once you get into the higher stages, the higher upper echelons of play, generally this sort of move where they're kind of sacrificing their army into unideal, you'd still get the third base, but quote unquote unideal fight, generally it means that they're transitioning. For example, Hafi likes to do that and then transition into a whole bunch of dragons, like 4 dragons layers, and does a huge air switch, take down your airship ballista, take down the advanced workshop, and it's GG from there, which I have lost a couple of times to. In this particular case, it looks like steveinator is doing more or less the same with the addition of catapults as well. So he's basically freeing up his inefficient or supply inefficient beast army to go for a bit of a more solid, more punchy, catapult core with a bit of dragons for harassment. So yeah, this is looking very dire for us here. Are we gonna take this space again, perhaps? I think maybe you queued it up with this worker, but all these workers have been denying that because it's waiting for it to happen. And yeah, that seems like it. I do like that you were trying to do some run-bys, but it's really tough to do run-bys against a beast player because their army is so mobile. And yeah, by now, steveinator has essentially the whole map under his thumb. And it's going to be really tough for us to find any sort of value. Nice little run by. It's going to find some damage, which is very nice. We're starting to retake our 3rd base and our 4th base. But yeah. Dragon's coming from the top, which means we probably want to be moving this airship over there. Good target fire onto this castle. That's going to be taken down, especially with the help of these catapults. But that might also mean, a little bit of a excellent fight for us. These fireballs probably should have went to the that last fireball probably should have went to the wolves here. Small little thing, but this was an excellent fight for us. And once again, we can have that opportunity to go across the map. But yeah, I think with the dragons over here, not going to happen. We did it, actually maybe we could have just gone across the map and, tried to go for one big push. If this was a Pro League game, you should never, I would have just, said, whatever, I'll just go across the map and see if I can win right now. But yeah, definitely not ideal. But yeah, a few things hopefully that was a little bit helpful. And if you have any questions, let me know, of course. And yeah. Also, I guess one last little thing is that if you're more comfortable with Beast, I feel like your playstyle is definitely a little bit more in line with the Beast playstyle. So I wouldn't, I like that you're trying to be versatile here, try out a little bit of racks, and you found a little bit of success with it, but it's definitely a different playstyle, which is not the easiest thing to pick up. If you want to continue going for it, that's totally fine. If not, you can just go back to Beast and try some stuff out as well. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.